Well, hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to make this little ginger jar here. This was really an interesting project. It had a lot of twists and turns to it, and I changed the design on this 2 or 3 times here. So, kind of an interesting story, at least it was for me here at Stewart Arts, and I hope you enjoy. My mom was into ceramics for a number of years, and she made a lot of these gourds or vessels that I would call ginger jars, and they just have a hollow base, and then they have kind of a hemispherical hollow top. So what we're going to do today is I'll do a stack up of 2 different woods, and the light colored wood I believe could be maple, but it just seems a little lightweight to me, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. And the dark contrasting material will be sapelli, or it may be African mahogany. I'm not sure. Maybe those are the same thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a glue up a stack here. And instead of doing the stack up parallel like I normally would, I'm going to take the maple pieces and I'm going to taper them so that I end up with a stack up that kind of gets out of alignment, if you will. So I'll have wedges, and I'll have 3 wedges that accumulate an error, if you will, and then 3 other wedges that go in the opposite direction and kind of recover the parallelism between the top and the bottom. I've glued about a 3/16 inch square strip of wood along the edge of this board, and so when I pass it through the planer, it'll produce a tapered cross section. That one came out really nice, but I don't know, 5 or 10 degree angle there. I think that'll be really nice for what I'm going to do. What I've done here is I'm laying out the largest circles I can on this, and I'm just roughing these out with my compass, and then we'll go cut these circles out on the bandsaw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces is what I'll get out of it. Have to glue these things up in little pieces and then build up. I can't. So I've got these 3 wedges going in the same direction on the bottom, and then I switch and alternate on the top, go to the opposite direction. So it should square it up by the time it gets to the top. So I'll do that glue up next. All right, I've measured the approximate center of the top of this thing, and I'll drill this thing to 375, and that'll be for my screw chuck on the Nova G3. I like the form of it. I'm feeling good about it. And so I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing around. I forgot to charge my camera last night, and I forgot to bring the charging cable this morning, so I did not record anything that I did this morning. But what I did this morning is I went ahead and I completed the rough shape of the bottom part of this, and you can kind of see how the lines ended up. I'm kind of fascinated by that. I think it turned out kind of interesting, and I've got the vessel hollowed out. So now I'm at the point where I want to apply this neck ring, if you will, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this to the vessel. I would normally use a white wood glue, but I want to get this project going again here soon, so I'm going to go ahead and use a CA in a gel form here, and I'm just going to push this disc onto the vessel here and tighten that in, get it nice and centered. Beautiful. It is perfect. It matches the inside now. Alright, I have finished my sanding here. You can see how the applied neck here feathers in with the inside. I'm going to go with a boiled linseed oil and paste wax finish on this. Alright, I juiced up the inside of this, and we'll let that soak. And now it's show time. Ready to do a layer on the outside here. And oh boy, that's going to be nice. Look at that. I'm already excited about it. Just put on the second coat of boiled linseed oil, and I'm going to turn my attention now to the lid. So over here on the bench, leave this overnight, let it soak in there. This sapelli is quite dry. So that's how it's looking so far. I'm kind of excited about that. I think that I felt like the top might be just a little bit heavy for this project. Something about it really just bugs me, and I was thinking about this last night, and I think what's bugging me about this is that this top is just too much for this jar here. So I think I'm going to abandon this top here, and the idea I have with my original design is to go with a more of a plug type lid there. I think that might fit this a little better. My neck ended up being bigger than I had originally intended. I think that's my problem. So I have a nice probably 1.25 inch piece of sapelli here, and I'm just going to turn this little plug here and pop it on here, and let's just see if that's not a better look. Well, I've got a bit of a dilemma here. So this is the lid that I cut the first time, and it's kind of growing on me, actually. It does fit the form. It hides my pretty little neck there, but it does fit the form nicely. But then I thought maybe I would try a smaller lid. So this is more of a plug that goes on the top here. And I almost feel like that's more of a classical look for this. But I can't decide which one I like the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post pictures of the two options on Facebook and a few of the woodworking groups that I belong to. Here's the question I posted. My idea was to leave this up for about 48 hours and then tally the results of the responses that I received. I let this survey run for 48 hours on Facebook. Put it into 15 different Facebook groups, and then today I sat down and I tallied all the results. And what the results were, there were 172 votes, if you will, and 97 people said that the large lid was the best lid. The small lid was also supported, but is a distant second place to the large. And a few people said that both lids look great. But the one that really caught my eye is that there were 15 people who said that neither lid really did the jar justice. And in fact, several of them, not only did they say that neither lid worked, but they also offered suggestions for how I might approach cutting yet another lid. So I stewed over that for a good deal of time, and so here's what I decided to do. I dreamed about that stinking top all night long last night, and I got up this morning and I kind of sketched out this little thing here. And so we're trying to make a new plug type top, be sort of a bell top, and I'm planning to have a little finial on there as well. Nah. Well, to do a recap, we started off with this lid. It's just a simple hollow form here, and putting it on the piece here, I kind of liked it, but it felt a little bit heavy for the top here. So I cut another one that was smaller, and this one's solid, and it's kind of a plug design. I didn't finish the bottom of it here, but that's what this one looked like, and that's kind of neat. I mean, it's actually not bad, really, and I can almost get my head around it, but I'm not sure I like it sitting on the ring. So I think if it sat flush onto the vessel, it probably would be good. So I went ahead and made a third one. Now this was based on comments from the Facebook survey. A lot of people made the comment, oh, you ought to make one that's a little fancier, that maybe has a finial. So I started to make this one, and got it nicely fitted up. And I don't know, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to set this one aside. And then my friend Ted came over, and he was looking at it, and he said, your problem is that the neck on your vessel is a little bit heavy. He said, why don't you turn it down and shorten it, and then you can put a smaller cap on that's similar to your first one. And so that's what I did. I thought about that, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. So I turned about a half of the width of this thing off, and I took the height of it down about halfway. And then I made a lid, this number 4, and I used just the exact same technique as the first one, but this one is about 1/4 of an inch smaller in diameter than the first one. And so that's where I ended up. That's where I'm leaving it for today. And I think that looks pretty good. I think the proportions are pretty decent there. The color is a pretty good color, and so that's where I'm leaving it. I'm pretty satisfied with how this turned out. I had to go through 4 lid designs here, and the experiment with posting the options on Facebook, that was that was real interesting. I got a lot of great comments, and if you're one of the folks that commented, by the way, I just want to thank you. That was really important for me to hear what you thought about this, and I lay awake for the last 2 nights trying to figure out what I was going to do here exactly. But I think it turned out pretty nice. I'm going to set this aside for now, put it over here with the other completed projects, and move to the next thing. But who knows? I'll continue to think about this, and the nice thing about a design like this is if I decide to make a new lid, I can just set this one over here and get a chunk of wood, throw it on the lathe, and try something different. But for now, I think this is where we'll leave it.